Lieutenant Commander Marion Vanzie. I've been in the United States Navy for 29 years. So in the early 1980s, we immigrated from Belize to LA. I attended elementary school through high school, where after high school I decided I wasn't ready to go to college and wanted to join the military. And there were several reasons why I wanted to join the military. Mainly was to give back for the opportunity my family had to be in the country. The second piece is I wanted to see the world and to, become a man per se. My mother raised me with values that were already established, and with the help of what you would call nowadays a village, which included my uncles, my Uncle Dave and my Uncle Wayne, my aunts, and my sister played a big role from the time when we were little in the Stank Creek Valley of Belize. She's always been that overseer of me. Even though we're 1 year apart, you would swear we were 10. Our village even extended to our church, which was Inner City Christian Center, where Pastor Martin, or Dr. Martin at the time, was really instilled a lot of values in me. And I actually gained a mentor, friend, and a brother in Sherry Martin that I have in my life to this day and will have for the rest of my life. So in 1991, August 21st, I went to boot camp in Navy Training Recruiting Command, San Diego, which no longer exists. And it was in the middle of the first Gulf War. And I came in as a corpsman. During that time, they were prepping us for corpsmen and pipelining us through through boot camp and through training command or corpsman training school very quickly. Got an opportunity to really learn how to become a corpsman at the time, which is the foundation of who I am as a sailor, and got trained by Vietnam veterans who experienced truly what combat medicine was, and was a great opportunity in my life. After I left Hospital Corps School, I still decided to take the orders to Long Beach. The funny thing and an interesting story is that the day I checked in is the day the LA riots hit because of the Rodney King situation. I eventually left there after the Northridge earthquake cracked the hospital in half, and we took orders other places, and I went to surgical tech school back to the Naval School of Health Science in San Diego. Went to surgical tech school there. Upon finishing that, I had two choices. I was going to either take orders to Charleston Naval Hospital in Charleston, South Carolina, or I was going to stay in San Diego. And I had chosen Charleston Naval Hospital to go to the East Coast because I wanted something different. And I made that road trip during the summer of '97 to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And that was the year that Brooke was born. It was a changing point for me because it allowed me to mature. I remember saying to myself, man, God, you gave me a responsibility of a human being. I have to change how I do things in my life and how I conduct myself, and it really changed me as a person in the trajectory and the direction I was going. I got to Portsmouth and I knew that I wanted to get a degree. I wasn't focused enough when I was on the West Coast, but as soon as I went to Portsmouth, I asked to take the night shift, and I went to school during the day at Tidewater Community College. I went in the direction of a healthcare administrator. I was then offered orders to the USS Harry S. Truman. It had just came out of the yards. It was brand new. It was going to go on its maiden voyage right after I checked in on board. And but the key thing to going on the Harry S. Truman was it fast-tracked my my citizenship. Before I could go on the Harry S. Truman, I was required to get my citizenship, my U.S. citizenship, which was awesome for me. I was excited. I remember the day at the federal courthouse in Norfolk, it really was one of those changing points in my life, and I was excited and thrilled on that day. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to share it with my family like I would have because they were all on the West Coast, but nonetheless, they were there in spirit. It was a pivoting point for me. I picked up third class. I made second class on that ship. I won the first of many awards that I was going to get as a sailor. The Truman allowed me to travel to countries that I probably would have never gone on my own. To this date, I've been to 38 different countries. While I was on the Truman, on the latter part of it, I met, and just before my last deployment, I met my beautiful wife now. At that time, it was Latasha Sharif. And I met her in August 17th, 2002. And it was just before my last deployment on the Truman and just before the second Gulf War. And it was, once again, it was life-changing. And obviously so, she's my wife today. So I graduated from Southern Illinois with a BA in healthcare management. I wanted to keep that momentum going, so I went straight into grad school, and I started to attend my master's program thanks to Dr. Don Vanzie, who invited me over to join their program at Marion University. I finished my degree in 2008 from Marion University. From there, I commissioned, Commander Porter and Commander Noack both were pivotal in my commissioning program, both Nurse Corps officers. I left there in 2008 and went to Officer Development School in Newport, Rhode Island. In Newport, Rhode Island, that's where I met one of my best friends to this day, which is Bart Rodriguez. Bart and I both were Medical Service Corps officers, and we were both priors. I remember the chief that was in charge there told us that we acted like we were too cool for school. But a lot of the stuff that they were doing wasn't new to us, and we knew that we had an opportunity here to really help out some of the new people to the military. I was a systems administrator for Essentris, which was my first introduction to IT. As you may see, and as you saw that I mentioned earlier, I do not have a degree in IT, but I was trained by some of the best people that I could have asked for at Naval Medical Center, at the National Naval Medical Center, Bethesda. Solace was born in '07, so that was my second child. My first child was Tasha, and we had bought our first home. We got married in '06. I leave NAVMISA. I closed NAVMISA down in Bethesda. They moved to San Antonio. I requested to stay in Bethesda, and Commander Thornton and Lieutenant Commander Thornton at the time asked me to come over and be his deputy and division officer for the IT department at the National Naval Medical Center, which was, I was honored that he asked me that. I took the job, went over there, and placed myself under the wings of all the IT professionals over there, and they taught me how IT works, and I'm so appreciative. Chief Malia, Peter Hu, Jin Wang, Tanya Reeder, Jose Escuerdo, Lefty, Luis Lopez, who were sent on many missions together to do things in the IT department. But it's where I learned the core of what I know today as an IT person. And I appreciate those people to this day. That year, the Continuous Promise was set for a mission to Central and South America. Unfortunately, the Comfort had to go into the yards for repairs, so we got detached to Surgical Team 6, and we ended up on the USS Iwo Jima. It was a great opportunity. I got to serve and share and helped many people across the Central and South American countries. I went to Fort Polk, did 10 weeks of training, which was longer than my boot camp itself. We left there in October of it was 11 I went to Fort Polk, and in October of 2011 we left for Afghanistan. I've been in combat zones, but this was a different experience. I used to tell people Afghanistan was like a chess set, and at any given time, that day would have been your day when you got checkmate. Finished my time in Afghanistan, made my way back home. It definitely was a change after being there for about a year. And, but with the help of my wife and my kids, my youngest son had a tough time. He wasn't used to who I was, and it took some time for him to grow back, for us to grow closer together again, because I left when he was so young. But with my family, we were able to push through. Left there, and once I went back to Bethesda, it was now Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. But when my time was up there, I decided to take a sabbatical away from military health, and I went to recruiting, which was just as rewarding as any other thing I did. I got stationed at the Naval Recruiting District, Richmond, but my office was out of DC. I decided to move from healthcare administration and IT at the healthcare at Walter Reed, or from military health, to Naval Recruiting Command, which put me in a position to recruit naval officers in healthcare, nurses, doctors, dentists. The move to recruiting for me as an executive leader was important. It was to understand the quality and the level of expertise that we needed to bring into Navy medicine to improve and to guide in the direction of where Navy medicine was going. After leaving Recruiting Command, I made a strategic move. I could have went to become a CIO at another hospital, and that was offered to me, but I chose to go to BUMED, which is an Echelon 2 level, policy level command. Honor is honoring the sailors and the officers that have paved the way for me as a black man in the military. The Golden 13, the first 13 black officers in the U.S. Navy. Admiral Gravely, who came out of that group, who was the first black commander and admiral. Colin Powell, whose books inspired me and taught me how to be a better leader. Force Master Chief Martinez, who I had the pleasure of working under, who gave me guidance, who called me in her office and gave me those tough speeches about life and how to be a better sailor. To Captain Brian Dawson, who called many of us into his office at times and just had man-to-man, brother to young brother discussions that really made us better officers, better fathers, better husbands, better stewards of our community. And most thankful for, and I think it's the best way to end it, is with my hero, is my mother. I couldn't express enough how much my mother is my hero. I speak of it often. There's no person that wears a cape. There's no person that has doctorate degrees and a slew of education that can be greater than my mother. My mother made sacrifices that people would never know. From the times she would give us the last of the money to catch the bus to school, and she would walk 5 miles so she can go to her nursing program. to the days where she would give us food and she would go without. She is why who I am today, why I am such a passionate father and husband, is because of the things that she shown me how to be a man, and she did that as a woman. And the things that she couldn't teach me as a man, she made sure that I had very strong male figures in my life, such as my uncles and Sherry and Dr. Martin when I was a kid, and I'm thankful for that.
My sweet dear son, October 24th, 1972 was a blessed day. Having you and Marsh were the highlights of my younger years. Sure, we had our portion of struggles, traumas, and learning experience as we did life together. I must say thank you, God, for the family and friends He placed in our lives to help us through. With God's guidance, we were a formidable force as the three of us pushed through rough times together. I knew you had some special gift in you as I watched you struggle with challenges during your younger years. You didn't give up. You fought back with grace and integrity. You went through serious illnesses, grave disappointments, wars, going into dangerous countries to help people. I just kept praying and putting you in God's hands. Now you have done a great service to a great nation. With your wife beside you, you can only go forward and upward. Thanks, Tash. Ma, you have a great, beautiful family, and I'm so proud of you for being the husband and daddy you are. Like I always say, I wish I had a daddy like you. Enjoy the celebrations and honors you received today. Well deserved. And Danny and I congratulate you and salute you, Officer Lieutenant Commander Vanzie. You make me proud to be your mama.
Well, images take some vision and some thought to put together, and that one was done by a longtime friend of mine, Calvin Watkins. Calvin's up there, he's humble. Calvin, please give him a hand. He did a phenomenal job. He's a filmmaker, something I do as well outside of my role with Fox 45.